Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name's Monica, and today is my September wrap up. So I actually read 36 books in the month of September, but that's honestly not the whole story. So it wasn't the best reading month. I did read a lot, but the problem was, and I kind of figured out the problem, nothing was truly hitting. Normally books hit for me, whether they're 4.5 or 5 stars. I'm just gonna go out and say it. Let me just put this up. Okay, so I had 3 5 stars, 7 4.5 stars, 11 4 stars, 6 3.5 stars, 4 3 stars, no unrated, 2 DNFs, and actually I thought I DNF'd more than that. I think I just slogged through, and then I had 2 rereads. The thing is, I've been not feeling great. Honestly, I haven't been feeling great since, and I did not know why I wasn't feeling, well, I know why I wasn't feeling great. So I've been feeling very physically sick, where I would actually get physically sick, but it wasn't a virus. And so I'd be very lethargic, very tired. And every time I ate, I would just feel worse and worse and worse, to the point where I stopped eating pretty much almost altogether. I would eat enough to keep going. And then I started getting dizzy, so I finally called my doctor. Come to find out, they were over medicating me for one of my medications. So right now they're pulling back on some of my medications. They're readjusting some of my medications. So all these books that probably should have hit weren't hitting, because I wasn't feeling good enough to really, my patience was not there, I should say, or things that normally would be fine with me was not fine. For example, was Before the Sunset. That book should have worked well for me, and it didn't. I completely hated the heroine for it, and what she did towards the end should have hit for me because it had the tropes that I liked. A lot of the books that should have hit for me because it had the tropes I liked didn't hit. So I might go back and reread them to see, when I'm feeling physically better, to see if that was the reason why I didn't like them. I think I gave it 4 stars. I did, but it was actually more like a 3.5. I was being very generous with my rating on that one, but yeah, it was not on my favorites list. Honestly, I had 3 favorites on this during this time. And one of them was Here With Me, and I actually did talk about it in a video, and I'll link the video down below. It's about X's dad, and so I won't go through that. I won't talk about that book in this video, but yeah, I loved that book. That was 5 stars. It was fantastic, and I highly recommend that book. But another 5-star read for me was The Fall of Bradley Reed. Oh my gosh, I love this book. This was about Olivia Anderson. She's a chronic people pleaser, and she gets dumped at the altar on her wedding day, and her wedding was basically what her mom wanted her wedding to be like, because she's a society girl. And she decides to take revenge on her ex, and her revenges are creative enough to be considered, well, let's put it this way. If they had actually worked, she could have accidentally killed her ex. But anyway, she didn't know that she was being monitored by the FBI, because her ex was being investigated for white collar crimes, because he was stealing money for embezzlement. And this plot was It's such a great revenge plot. It was hysterical. I loved every minute of it, and it was so much fun. And if you didn't know, this is book 3 in Morgan Elizabeth's Seasons of Revenge series, which started with 'Tis the Season for Revenge. I love these books. Well, I haven't read the second book because I didn't even know there was a second book when it came out. So I didn't read the second book, but I loved 'Tis the Season for Revenge, and I loved The Fall of Bradley Reed. So this one, 5 stars. It was perfect for me. So another book that really worked for me, and I read this at the beginning of September, was Enchanted to Meet You by Meg Cabot. This is her newest release, and it was a closed-door witchy romance. And this was Jessica, who's a cottage witch, and Derek, who is, he comes in to towns to help stop catastrophes from happening, and it is their romance, and it is very, very cute. It's a lot like her older stuff, so it's reminiscent of her older stuff, and I really enjoyed it. It's has the small town New England feels. There's good character growth. The romance is very solid. It's well done. The story is interesting. It is it does have the fall vibes that I was looking for, and it had everything I was looking for, and I gave it 4.5 stars. It was what I needed at the time when I read it, and I loved it. It doesn't have the best Goodreads reviews, but I didn't let that stop me for this, and I don't understand why it doesn't have better reviews, but I loved it. 4.5 stars for Enchanted to Meet You by Meg Cabot. It had her nostalgic feels for her older stuff, and I loved it. So if you liked her older stuff, I would actually recommend that you pick it up. And one of the things that I wanted to do, because I wasn't feeling the best, was do a couple of rereads. So I decided to do reread Legacy by Nora Roberts. This is my 3rd reread of this book. And this book was published in 2021. It's about Adrienne Rizzo. This is a romantic suspense. She was 7 when she met her father for the first time, but that was the day he nearly killed her. Her mom, Lena, stepped in and killed her dad. After this happened, she ends up going to her grandparents' place in Maryland. She ends up getting a best friend, her 10-year-old, her best friend Mia, and she ends up meeting Mia and Mia's 10-year-old brother Raylan, and they end up developing a friendship, and it goes through their time of their lives, and anyway, Adrienne ends up leaving and going back to New York City. Raylan moves on, ends up getting married, and Adrienne ends up developing her own yoga stuff and becomes famous. And as she goes on, she ends up getting the stalker, and it goes on. Something happens to Raylan's wife, and Raylan ends up becoming a single dad, and Raylan and Adrienne end up becoming a couple, and it ends up becoming their romance as they're dealing with a stalker. And it's a very well done story. It's a romantic suspense, and it's as she goes from what happened to her when she was 7 to the climax, meeting the stalker and why the stalker fixated on her. And it's actually really, really well done. And this cover was so fall vibey. I wanted just to reread it again. And I love it. And I love the fact that Adrienne has this a big Newfoundland dog named Sadie, and Raylan has this dog named Jasper, and Jasper has this big crush on Sadie, and it's really cute. And I just love this book. It's a comfort read for me, and it was something I needed at that time. The other one that I reread because I wanted to, after making a video that you will see before you see this video, was Shadows by Kristen Proby. It was about the beignets, and I did make the beignets, but unfortunately I had like a bite because I couldn't physically eat any more than that. It was just not gonna, it did not happen with the way my stomach's been feeling, but the taste was delicious. Unfortunately, I couldn't eat more than that, but my family really enjoyed those beignets. They were delicious. But I wanted to reread that. I love Jason Clarke narrating as the serial killer. It was just fantastic. And it was everything that I wanted in the spooky season. I did not go on in the series, but I could, and I probably will throughout October, but I just really wanted to re-listen to that book. So I did, and it was a great time. And then I listened to Knotted. This was on my books that were scared me, and I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. I truly loved this book. This was such a great book. It was so well done. I love Pam Godwin. She can write dark romance like nobody else. She is so fantastic at it. Trigger warnings for rape on page, murder, PTSD, abuse by a parent, as well as a murder plot. So this is a very angsty book. Connor and Jake were going to have the first time. Unfortunately, they were interrupted by two masked men who were hired to kill Connor and her brother. And Connor was aggressively and horribly raped. And it was incredibly difficult to read. I'm not gonna lie, that was very difficult to read. So if you cannot handle reading that, do not pick up this book at all. Connor was one of the strongest heroines I have ever read, and the thing that did not make this a 5-star is because I got really mad at Jake and Jake's brother and Lauren, who is Connor's brother, because they discounted Connor's strength. They kept her away from everything. They did not talk to her. They left her out of everything because, yeah, she had PTSD and she was not dealing with things. However, she could have dealt with a lot more than what they were given to her. And I felt like them leaving her out of a lot of stuff was uncalled for, and I didn't like that. That's why it was 4.5 instead of 5, because she was an incredibly strong character. She stopped them from doing some pretty bad stuff at the beginning. So, and this goes back to how I was feeling about the Laura Pavlov book, is wimpy heroines. And then I read Her Soul to Take. And if you were on those lives and I was talking about Her Soul to Take, oh, Kamal and Jess, yeah. So, yeah, I did finish it, and I gave it 4 stars. I think it was more like 3.5 stars. Honestly, it just really drove me crazy. The heroine, Ray, was such a idiotic. Let's put it this way. In the first Scream movie, when the killer and Ghostface calls Sydney Prescott, he goes, "Do you like scary movies?" She's like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "Why not?" And she says, "Because the girl usually is some big-breasted bimbo who usually runs up the stairs instead of out the door. She's an idiot and it's insulting." And that's exactly what this book, that's what Ray is. Well, she's not, doesn't have big boobs, but yeah. That's essentially what Ray reminded me of was this. She would not survive Scream. She would not, she barely survived Her Soul to Take. The only reason why she survived this book was because of Leon, Juniper, and Zane. She would not survive. I don't even think she could survive tying her shoes and walking across the street without help. They keep telling her that these two brother and sisters are trying to kill her, and yet she takes a cup of a mixed drink and drinks it, and she wonders why she got roofied. I'm like, holy crap, dude. And not only that, she's incredibly horny. I'm like, she's the most dumb, horny heroine I have ever read. And it just put me off. It put me off so much. The plot is interesting. The storyline's interesting. I liked Leon. Leon is a bit of a cliche character. I'm not gonna lie, he's a little cliche, but I was okay with that. But I was right. I couldn't get past it. I mean, you couldn't even survive a suspense thriller book. What makes you think you could survive down in there? I mean, even at the end, she did redeem herself a little bit at the end, but I still was like, no. I just, to the point where I probably honestly will not go on with this series. I know people are saying that Juniper is a better heroine. I can't get past Ray. I can't get past her. She was just such she drove me crazy, and to the point where I was bound and determined to finish this book. And I don't even think that was me feeling particularly annoyed because I'm feeling sick. I think I would have felt that way even if I was feeling healthy, because she was just really annoying. Because I was like, come on. They were telling you not to do these things. And she was like, well, no, I can do whatever I want. Well, yeah, you can do whatever you want, but there's consequences. And you're just doing dumb things, and they're still saving you. Act a little more intelligently, please. So if you really think I should go on, let me know down below. Otherwise, I might not. I know Jess from Honest Fiction really loved the second one. Jess, should I go on? Because I really did not like Ray. I liked the world, I liked the storyline, but I could not stand that character to the point where I don't want to go on. Should I continue on? Let me know. Okay, moving on. So at this point, I was almost done with reading at this point. But I actually had this out on Hoopla before, and it was actually going to be ending soon. So when Jess and Lacey said that they were going to pick this for the October cover to cover, I was like, oh, well, that's sort of kismet, because it literally is going to end in a couple of days. So I decided just to go ahead and finish it and read it. And it was that time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. I decided just to end my September with a rom-com paranormal romance with that, and I'm glad I did. That was my last 5-star read, and it was a good time. I had a lot of fun with this. The romance was hot. The heroine was so clever, and she was self-aware, she was brave, she was capable, she was snarky, she was sassy. I loved her to pieces. She was the one who figured out a lot of different things. She could hold her own in a fight. She saved the hero just as much as the hero saved her. And I was thoroughly entertained from the beginning to the end, and she just was able to hold her own. And she was the reason why things happened the way they happened, but also she supported each character as they developed. And I loved it. I loved the humor. I loved the character development. I loved the romance. I loved how we got to know the hero through her eyes, and I loved how we got to know her and her past. And it was just such a good time, and I loved this book. It was so much fun to go through, and Kimberly Lemming is such a great writer. She is so much fun. This is a gem. This is my second Kimberly Lemming book. I love her writing. She is a good writer, and I highly recommend you pick up her books. She's good. I'm glad that the Cover to Cover Book Club has decided to put this one as their book club pick for the month of October. I'm glad I read it at the end of September, because I was actually able to end not the best reading month on a high note. So yeah, let me know if you read any of these down below and what you thought, and what was your favorite book that you read in the month of September. Let me know down below. And if you made it this far in this video and you want to let me know that you've been here but you don't want to comment on anything, please leave me a leaf or acorn emoji. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.